Frank Cilluffo is in Washington. He's a CBS News security consultant and director of George Washington University's Center for Cyber and Homeland Security. So, Frank, how unusual is this type of action? What does it say to you about the credibility of the intelligence?
You know, these sorts of actions are predicated upon three things. One, new intelligence or information that identifies a specific tactic or technique that is being utilized. Two, actually seeing previous incidents and vulnerabilities that have been exploited and backfilling those. And I think what you're seeing is a combination of both of those here. About this time last year, you saw an attempt to take down a plane in a Somali airline that ultimately used a new improvised explosive device that was smuggled onto the plane and fortunately killed the perpetrator himself and not everyone else, but demonstrated just how catastrophic that could be. I think that comes on the heels with additional intelligence and information that determined that they needed to take actions and take them quickly here. And I think that's what you saw play out.
Given the imposed timeline of 96 hours that airlines have to comply, does this identified threat that you just outlined appear targeted or perhaps more general?
You know, I think in this case, that 96 hours is pretty fast given the grand scale and the fact that you have 10 airports with multiple flights coming into the United States. I'm not sure what the UK timeline is, but the fact that they have identified different airports, not only the 10 that are on the US list, also demonstrates that there may be some imminency here. But I think that most importantly is you've seen this vulnerability exploited in the past, and I think that there's additional information demanding that steps be taken sooner.
So given these locations that you just talked about, Frank, what does it tell us about where potentially this threat might be anchored, especially when you consider, obviously, ISIS and al-Qaeda?
You know, firstly, the 10 airports include a number of the closest U.S. allies on counterterrorism, the Jordanians, the Saudis, the Moroccans. So these are close allies to the United States. While I don't know precisely, and I don't have any insights into the actual intelligence and information, my gut tells me that you're seeing something come out of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. AQAP, a franchise of al-Qaeda in Yemen, includes the most prominent and infamous bomb maker in al-Asiri. He had been behind the booty bomber in the past, but other sorts of innovative means to use improvised explosive devices. So while I have nothing hard to tell me that that's the case, my gut tells me that AQAP figures in prominently here.
Well, Frank, we know that these restrictions have been in the works for some time now, and you talked about this incident 13 months ago in Somalia. What was it specifically about that pushed these restrictions over the line to get them actually implemented?
You know, I think firstly it was how the device was able to get onto the plane itself. So whether or not this would have been picked up in other airports, who knows precisely. But firstly, it's how was the device? How did they get it onto the plane? And then you couple that with the fact that you may have some additional intelligence and information. I think that's the 1-2 combo there, and I think that the United States has a responsibility to protect its travelers, and I think the UK came to the same conclusion, and perhaps other countries will in the near term as well. So I think it's focused in a limited set of airports. Is it going to create some disruption? Absolutely. But I think it is manageable, and I think it was based on some risk-based calculus that would minimize the disruption and hopefully ameliorate the particular threat.
All right, Frank Cilluffo. Frank, thanks very much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elaine. Appreciate it.